My beloved, come quietly now and rest in this moment with me. Let the noise soften. Let the tension ease. Let the restless thoughts loosen their grip as you breathe. You have carried so much for so long, and you have walked through shadows that only you and I truly understand. But here, in this gentle pause, I draw you close. I invite you to feel the nearness of my presence, the steadiness of my care, the warmth that has followed you even when you felt alone. This is not a moment of striving, but a moment of opening. A doorway into stillness. A place where you can finally set down the weight you never deserved to hold. I speak to you now because your heart is ready to hear what it could not hear before. Ready to receive what it once doubted it could have. Ready to step into a healing that has been pursuing you quietly, patiently, tenderly. Come, precious one. Let your breathing slow. Let your heart lean forward. Allow me to whisper a deeper truth into the places that ache. I am here, and I am leading you into wholeness. My child, listen closely now, for this moment carries a weight unlike those before it. This is the hour in which I speak the words your spirit has longed to hear. Be made whole. These words do not rise from wishful thinking or fragile hope. They come from my heart, steady and unwavering, spoken into the deepest places where your wounds once shaped your identity. I speak them to call forth what has always been yours but has felt out of reach. I speak them now because this is the time your soul has finally turned toward the light with enough willingness to receive what I have held for you all along. You have tried so many times to begin again, to rebuild your strength with sheer effort, to piece together your life with determination even while exhausted. And though you have risen many times, the weariness has clung to you like a shadow. Yet in all of that, I was watching over you, not disappointed, not impatient, but longing for this moment when I could speak directly into the tender center of your heart. This moment where the veil thins, and you sense that something sacred is unfolding. When I say be made whole, I am not pointing to a flaw or a failure. I am naming the truth you were created for. I am reminding you that your story does not end in brokenness, no matter what the past has tried to convince you of. You have walked through storms that left their marks, endured words that pierced more deeply than the speaker ever understood, carried memories that refused to loosen their grip. Yet none of these have the authority to define you when I speak. There are seasons when healing comes quietly, like dawn light gently pushing away the night. And there are seasons like this one, when my voice comes with unmistakable clarity, calling you forward with urgency, because I know what waits for you on the other side of your surrender. This is one of those sacred moments, one where your spirit feels a pull you cannot quite explain, a stirring that feels both familiar and new, a sense that the ground beneath you is shifting toward something better. Do not be afraid of this shift, my child. You are not losing the person you have been. You are becoming the person you truly are. The version of you that has been hidden beneath layers of fear, disappointment, and quiet survival. I am reaching into those places now, not to expose you, but to free you. Not to overwhelm you, but to lift you gently into the light you were always meant to walk in. There is a reason you are hearing this now, and not years ago. You are ready in a way you could not have imagined then. Ready to stop fighting battles that were never yours. Ready to release the burdens you believe you had to carry to prove your worth. Ready to accept that healing is not something you must earn. It is something I long to place into your hands because you are precious to me. Feel this truth settle into you. You are not too wounded. You are not too late. You are not beyond restoration. You stand at a threshold you did not expect, and I am holding the door open. Step forward with me. Let my words echo inside you until they reshape the beliefs that once held you captive. My beloved, I am speaking these words with intention. Be made whole, not partially restored, not barely recovering. Oh, complete in the ways that matter most, steady in ways you once believed were impossible, free in ways you scarcely dared to hope for. And as you hear these words, something in you already begins to awaken. A warmth, a stirring, a remembrance of your true identity. This is not coincidence. This is me calling the deepest parts of you back to life. You were never meant to live fractured, never meant to live small, never meant to live dimmed. You were meant for fullness, for clarity, for peace that stays even when the world shakes. So breathe, my child. Lean into this moment. Let my voice wrap around the places where you long for relief. You are seen. You are cherished. And you are being called into a wholeness that cannot be taken from you. Be made whole. The journey begins here. My beloved, come a little closer now. In this part of our journey, I want you to feel something you have often doubted, that you are fully seen, deeply understood, and endlessly known. Not in a distant way, not in an abstract way, but in the most intimate sense. I have walked with you through every memory, every secret ache, every silent hope you were afraid to speak aloud. Nothing in you is hidden from me, and nothing in you has ever caused me to withdraw my love. You may feel forgotten by others at times, but I have never turned my gaze from you, not even for a moment. You have endured seasons where you wondered if anyone truly recognized the weight you were carrying. You moved through days holding yourself together while your inner world trembled, hoping someone might notice the struggle behind your steady face. You have cried quietly in rooms where no one knew your tears had fallen. You have been the strong one, the dependable one, the one who pushed through even when you longed for someone to simply ask, "Are you all right?" My child, I saw every moment, every breath, every tremble you hid so well. I saw it, and I held you even then. There were nights when you lay awake, not with loud despair, but with an ache that you could not name. A weariness that settled into your bones, a longing for rest that felt out of reach. In those hours, when you felt the most alone, my presence was wrapped around you like a quiet shelter. You may not have felt me, but I was there, gathering every unspoken thought, every fear you tried to push aside, every dream that felt too fragile to touch. I have known you in your silence, and I have loved you in your silence. There were times when life moved faster than your heart could follow, and you tried to keep pace even when you were unraveling inside. You told yourself you had to be strong, that you had to adapt, that you had to pretend you weren't hurting as deeply as you were. You pushed through days that exhausted you, and forced yourself to smile when you were barely holding on. You believed no one saw the cost of your endurance. But I saw. I felt the heaviness settle on your spirit. I understood the pressure you placed on yourself, the expectations you thought you had to meet, the fear of disappointing those around you. And even then my love for you did not waver. My child, nothing about you has been overlooked. Not the quiet courage you showed when you wanted to give up. Not the forgiveness you offered when your heart was still bruised. Not the kindness you continued to give even when no one returned it. Not the way you kept moving forward while carrying emotional weights that would have crushed others. You have been seen. Even the parts of you that feel unfinished, imperfect, or uncertain. I see those, too, and I cherish you in every layer of your becoming. You have longed for someone to truly understand you, to hear the words beneath your words, to recognize the meaning behind your guarded heart. You wanted to feel known without having to explain every detail of your pain. That longing came from a deep, sacred place within you, a place that has always been connected to me. For I am the one who knows the shape of your hopes, the patterns of your fears, the rhythm of your dreams. You do not have to perform for me. You do not have to hide. You do not have to pretend you are stronger than you feel. With me, you can rest in your truth. There have been moments when you questioned whether your struggles mattered, whether your wounds were too small to be worthy of attention, or too large to be healed. You compared your pain to the pain of others and convinced yourself you should simply endure. But I tell you now, your pain matters because you matter. Your tears matter because your heart matters. Your healing matters because your wholeness has always been part of my intention for you. I am not blindsided by your emotions. I am not overwhelmed by your fears. I am not disappointed in your doubts. Everything you have carried is safe in my hands. Let yourself feel this. You are fully known and still fully loved. You do not have to earn my understanding. You do not have to justify your feelings. You do not have to hide the parts of your story that feel messy or confusing. I have walked through every chapter with you. I have seen the moments that shaped you, the losses that scarred you, the joys that lifted you, the battles that strengthened you. Not one moment hath been wasted. Not one moment hath been unseen. My beloved, the healing I am leading you into begins with this truth. You have never been invisible to me. Even when the world overlooked you, even when people misunderstood you, even when you questioned your own worth, I never lost sight of who you truly are. I see the beauty beneath your wounds. I see the strength beneath your fatigue. I see the tenderness you protect so fiercely. I see the potential that still pulses within you, and I am calling all of it forward. You are known. You are held. You are understood. And you are safe with me. My beloved, we now stand together at the edge of a turning point, one that has been forming quietly within you even when you were unaware of it. This moment is not accidental. It is not random. It is not the result of chance. It is the culmination of many unseen shifts, gentle awakenings, small decisions, and quiet longings that have been gathering inside your spirit. You have been moving toward this threshold for longer than you realize, and now you feel it, the subtle tremble inside, the awareness that something within you is changing, the recognition that you cannot continue living the way you once did. This is the threshold moment, the sacred intersection where the life you have known meets the life you were meant for. My child, thresholds appear when you are ready to step into something deeper, clearer, and truer than the version of life you have been surviving. They arise not when everything is perfect, but when your heart becomes aware enough to sense there is more. And though the path ahead may feel unfamiliar, it carries a peace that hath been calling to you in whispers. You stand between what has been and what could be, between older patterns that kept you small and the wholeness I am inviting you into. This is where you choose whether to drift back into familiar pain or to step forward into the freedom I am placing before you. You may not realize it, but your spirit began preparing for this long before your mind caught up. You began to grow weary of carrying the same burdens. You started questioning the narratives that kept you limited. You felt dissatisfaction with repeating cycles that drained you. You began yearning for clarity instead of confusion, peace instead of chaos, connection instead of isolation. Those desires were not random emotions. They were signs that your inner world was awakening, rising, stretching, pressing against the edges of the life you had outgrown. They were signals that you were approaching a moment like this. This threshold is not defined by outward change. It begins within. It begins with the way your heart is opening, with the way you are seeing yourself differently, with the way you are recognizing what no longer serves your growth. And that awareness is powerful. It marks the beginning of transformation. Not a dramatic, overwhelming transformation, but a steady one that unfolds with every step you choose to take toward the light I am offering. My beloved, standing at this threshold does not mean you feel strong. It does not mean you feel confident. It does not mean you feel certain. Thresholds rarely come when you feel completely ready. They come when your heart becomes honest enough to admit it wants to live differently. And you have reached that truth. Inside you, there is a quiet resolve forming, a whispered choice that says, I want to heal. I want to feel whole again. I want to avoid. Even if you feel unsure, that whisper is enough. I can work with whispers. I can move mountains with the smallest yes. You may feel the pull of the past trying to draw you back into old patterns. The weight of familiar pain always tries to keep you from stepping forward because it is what your mind knows best. But my child, clarity lies ahead of you, not behind you. Your past may explain your wounds, but it cannot define your future. The life you truly desire cannot be found in the places you have already outgrown. This threshold moment asks you to decide. Will you remain where pain is familiar, or will you step toward the peace that has been waiting for you? Do not fear this moment. I am not pushing you. I am inviting you. I am not forcing you to run. I am gently extending my hand. You have spent years gathering pieces of yourself, navigating circumstances, surviving storms. You learned to cope, to endure, to adapt. But now I am calling you to something greater than survival. I am calling you to fullness, to breathe, to rest, to clarity, to a life where you do not live from your wounds, but from your healed identity. This threshold is sacred because it asks for honesty, courage, and surrender. It asks you to acknowledge what you no longer want to carry. It asks you to become willing to release what has kept your heart tied to old pain. It asks you to believe that healing is not only possible, but meant for you. Even if that belief feels fragile, as if it might break with the slightest pressure, it is still powerful. A fragile belief placed in my hands becomes unshakable over time. Look at this moment with open eyes, my child. Feel how different the air is around you. Sense the stirring inside your spirit. Notice the soft pressure within your chest, the subtle ache of yearning, the gentle pull toward peace. These sensations are not accidents. They are signs that your deeper self is awakening. This is the moment where your life begins to shift, not because of dramatic action, but because you are finally allowing yourself to hope again. You are standing at the doorway of transformation, and I am standing with you. You do not have to walk through alone. I am not observing from a distance. I am guiding you with every breath. You are not expected to instantly know what to do. I will show you step by step. Thresholds are crossed not in leaps, but with steady, willing movement. And when your foot touches the ground on the other side, you will feel the weight you once carried begin to loosen, piece by piece. My beloved, you are ready. You may not feel ready, but your spirit is. Step with me. This is your threshold moment, and everything can change from here. My beloved, before you step further into the wholeness I am offering, we must gently look at the barriers that have stood in your way. Not to shame you, not to expose you, not to weigh you down, but to free you. Healing requires light, and light reveals what hath been interfering with your peace. These obstacles are not your identity, not fixed parts of who you are. They are simply experiences, patterns, and beliefs that attach themselves to you along the way. And now, with tenderness, we will begin to release them. You have carried doubt for so long that it has begun to feel familiar, almost protective. Doubt whispered that you were not strong enough to change, not worthy enough to heal, not capable enough to rise. It tried to convince you that your story was already written, that the pain you knew was safer than the peace you could not yet see. My child, doubt has been a heavy veil over your heart, but it is not who you are. You learned doubt from moments that wounded you, from promises others broke, from times you opened your heart and were met with disappointment. I see how deeply those moments shaped you, but they do not define you now. Fear has also shadowed your steps, sometimes loudly, sometimes quietly. Fear of failing again. Fear of hoping too much. Fear of being hurt in the same ways you have been hurt before. Fear of losing what little stability you've managed to create. Fear even of healing itself, because healing means change, and change feels uncertain. My beloved, I have compassion for your fear. It developed in moments when you needed protection. It grew in the absence of safety. But fear is not your compass. It cannot lead you into the life you long for. It can only keep you circling the places you have already outgrown. There is also hesitation, the part of you that takes one step forward and then pauses, questioning whether you are allowed to take another. Hesitation formed when life taught you to anticipate disappointment. It taught you to be cautious even with your own desires. It taught you to hold your breath when something good approached. I understand why hesitation took root. But you no longer need to brace yourself for pain before you even take a step. You are safe with me, and I am inviting you to move past hesitation into trust. Another barrier is confusion, the fog that forms when old beliefs and new possibilities collide. You have struggled with conflicting thoughts, one part of you longing for healing while another part clings to what is familiar, even if it hurts. Confusion makes you question your own instincts, your own emotions, your own path. It tries to convince you that clarity is impossible. But clarity is coming, my child. Confusion is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that you are transitioning out of an old way of living. Confusion is simply the mind catching up to what the heart already knows. You cannot stay where you were. There are also the external influences, the voices around you that shape the way you see yourself. People who dismissed your feelings. People who minimized your pain. People who projected their fears onto you. People who did not understand your journey and unintentionally kept you small. Some voices were harsh, others subtle, but each one left an imprint. My beloved, I want you to know that their words were never more powerful than my truth about you. You are not defined by the limitations others placed on you. You are not bound to their expectations. You are free to become who you were meant to be. And then there is the barrier of self-blame, the quiet weight you've carried in your chest. You have blamed yourself for things that were not your fault. You held yourself responsible for situations that shaped you long before you had the power to choose anything different. You have judged yourself harshly, believing you should have healed faster, moved on sooner, known better, been stronger. But my child, your compassion for others must now be extended to yourself. You survived what you did not understand. You coped the best way you knew how. Nothing about your struggle makes you unworthy of the healing I am offering. All of these barriers, doubt, fear, hesitation, confusion, external voices, self-blame, have wrapped themselves around your heart like old vines. They have shaped your reactions, your decisions, your beliefs. But hear me clearly now. These barriers are not you. They may have touched you, but they do not define you. They may have hindered you, but they do not own your story. They may have stayed with you for years, but they lose their power the moment you see them for what they are, temporary shadows, not permanent truths. My beloved, your true self is not fearful. Your true self is not doubtful. Your true self is not fragile or broken or uncertain. Your true self has been waiting beneath these layers, steady and whole, longing for the moment when you would finally recognize that your obstacles do not determine your identity. I am removing these barriers gently, lovingly, patiently, not by force, but by inviting you to see yourself through my eyes. You are more than what has hindered you. You are more than what has wounded you. You are more than what has held you back. And together, we will move every barrier out of the way. My beloved, now that the barriers have been named and the shadows have been brought into the light, I want to show you what has been waiting for you beneath every layer of fear and doubt. This is not a promise built on conditions. This is not a reward you must earn. This is not something you qualify for through perfection or performance. What I am revealing to you now flows from my heart, from my love for you, from the truth of who you are and who you were always meant to become. This is the promise of peace, of healing, of clarity, of restoration, of inner wholeness that cannot be shaken by circumstance. My child, hear me gently as I speak this. There is a place within you that has long been waiting to rest, a place that hath been tired of carrying tension, tired of anticipating disappointment, tired of living in emotional survival mode. You have felt the weight of that exhaustion for years, even in seasons when you appeared outwardly strong. But I am lifting that weight now, not by demanding that you push harder, but by inviting you to release your grip. Peace begins not with effort, but with surrender. And as you surrender, the promise I have held for you unfolds. The peace I am offering is not passive or fragile. It is not shallow or temporary. It is a peace that moves into the deepest parts of you, into the places where old fears once lived. It is a peace that anchors you when your emotions shift and the world around you changes. It is a peace that stays even when uncertainty rises. This peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of steadiness. It is the kind of peace that allows you to breathe fully again, to trust again, to feel safe in your own heart again. This, my child, is part of my promise to you. Healing is also part of this promise. Not the kind of healing that erases your past or denies the reality of your wounds, but the kind that transforms them. Healing that integrates your story instead of resisting it. Healing that turns old pain into wisdom, old fear into courage, old wounds into openings for compassion and strength. Healing that does not rush you but gently restores what life once weakened. You do not need to force this process. You do not need to pretend you are further along than you are. Healing is unfolding quietly within you even now, and it will continue to unfold as you walk with me. My beloved, clarity is coming to you as well. You have lived through long seasons of confusion, times when your mind felt tangled and your path felt obscured. You questioned your decisions, doubted your instincts, second-guessed your intuition. But clarity is rising like a slow, luminous dawn. It will not overwhelm you. It will gradually illuminate what you need to see. You will begin to understand what aligns with your spirit and what does not. You will recognize what nurtures your peace and what steals it. You will feel a growing sense of direction where there was once uncertainty. This clarity is part of the promise I speak over you. Restoration also flows from my promise. Restoration of your confidence. Restoration of your inner strength. Restoration of your joy, your hope, your softness, your ability to trust yourself and others. You lost pieces of yourself along the way, pieces that were taken through disappointment, betrayal, exhaustion, grief, or simply the passage of time. But those pieces are being gathered now. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to the truest version of yourself, the one who existed before fear took root, before pain reshaped your identity. This restoration is gentle, patient, and sacred. And my beloved, forward movement is part of this promise as well. You have felt stuck for so long, as if invisible chains kept you tied to the past. But those chains are breaking. The places where you once felt paralyzed will become places of momentum. The areas where you hesitated will become areas of confidence. The dreams you set aside will reawaken. The opportunities that felt distant will begin to draw near. Forward movement will not feel forced. It will feel natural, aligned, and guided. You will begin to see steps forming beneath your feet that you once couldn't have imagined taking. But hear me carefully. This promise is not transactional. I am not offering these things in exchange for your perfection. I am not waiting for you to prove your worth. I am not measuring your progress before deciding whether to bless you. My promise is rooted in relationship, not in performance. It flows because you are mine, because you are beloved, because you are worthy of every good thing I long to bring into your life. You do not need to fear losing this promise. You do not need to fear failing your way out of it. You do not need to fear that your imperfections will cancel it. This promise is bigger than your mistakes, stronger than your doubts, deeper than your uncertainty. It is steady, constant, unwavering. I do not offer you temporary relief. I offer you transformation. I do not offer you fleeting comfort. I offer you wholeness. My beloved, feel these words settle into your spirit. You are being restored. You are being strengthened. You are being made whole. This is my promise to you, and I will fulfill it with tenderness, patience, and unwavering love. My beloved, come with me now into the quiet space where surrender becomes a doorway rather than a loss. You have spent so many years holding tightly to what hurt you, not because you wanted to, but because you believed you had to. You believed the weight on your chest was yours to carry. You believed the worries that kept you awake at night were responsibilities you could not release. You believed the fear that clung to you was necessary protection. But my child, you were never meant to walk through life with your hands clenched around pain, guilt, stress, and expectations that were never meant to belong to you. Now, I invite you to open your hands. Surrender is not defeat. It is not giving up. It is not weakness. Surrender is the sacred exchange where you trade what drains you for what restores you. It is the moment you stop gripping the burdens that have been exhausting your heart. It is the moment you choose to trust that you do not need to carry everything alone. When you surrender, you are not losing control. You are releasing what was never yours to manage in the first place. And in that release, I can place something gentler, lighter, and purer into your spirit. Let yourself breathe deeply now. Let your shoulders loosen. Feel the tension you've held for so long. Some of it you inherited, some of it you absorbed, some of it you accepted because you thought it was your role. But none of it has to stay. I see the heaviness you've tried to push through. I see the pressure you've placed on yourself to be strong even when you were hurting. I see the guilt you've carried for moments that were never your fault. I see the quiet shame that grew out of wounds you did not ask for. My beloved, surrender these to me. Let me take them. They have weighed on your heart long enough. You may wonder how to surrender. It begins with honesty. Honesty with yourself. Honesty with me. It begins by naming what hurts, what confuses you, what frightens you, what exhausts you. You do not need to fix these things before you hand them over. You only need to acknowledge them. Healing begins where honesty begins. And as you speak your truth, not to the world, not to everyone around you, but to me, you create space inside your soul for transformation. Surrender also means releasing the need to understand everything. You have tried to solve problems alone because you believed understanding would protect you. But understanding is not what brings peace. Trust does. You may not know how every piece of your life will come together, but you do not need to. I see the full picture, even when you only see fragments. I hold the path ahead, even when you cannot see the next step. Let me carry what confuses you. Let me hold what overwhelms you. Let me guide where your sight is limited. My beloved, surrender the guilt you've been holding. The guilt for not being perfect. The guilt for needing rest. The guilt for being human. The guilt for past decisions made in survival, not clarity. You have punished yourself long enough. Release this guilt into my hands. I am not judging you. I am not disappointed in you. I understand every moment that shaped you, and I offer grace where you have offered yourself shame. Surrender the anxiety that circles your thoughts. You have tried to think your way into peace. You have tried to plan your way into safety. You have tried to control every outcome so that you would not be hurt again. But anxiety has only drained you. Let me exchange it for steadiness. Let me fill the spaces where fear once lived with a calm that does not depend on circumstances. You do not need to hold the future tightly. I'm already in your future, preparing the way. Surrender the heartbreaks you carry, the ones you endured in silence, the ones that changed the way you see yourself, the ones that taught you to expect disappointment. Those wounds have shaped too many pieces of your story. Let me place my healing hand on them. You are not betraying your past by healing. You are honoring the strength it took to survive it. And now, my child, listen closely. Everything you release, I replace. Every burden you surrender becomes an opening for peace. Every fear you let go of becomes room for clarity. Every piece of shame you hand to me becomes soil for restoration. Every painful memory surrendered becomes ground where new strength can grow. This is the sacred exchange. I am not asking for your perfection. I am asking for your openness. I am not asking you to force healing. I am asking you to receive what I long to give. You do not need to know how to let go perfectly. Simply allow yourself to soften. Every moment of softening brings you closer to wholeness. Feel my presence around you now, warm and steady. I am lifting the burdens from your shoulders. I am loosening the knots inside your chest. I am calming the storm that has lived in your mind for far too long. You are safe here with me. Safe to release. Safe to rest. Safe to heal. Surrender, my beloved, is not losing. It is finally letting me love you the way I always intended to. And from this sacred exchange, you will rise lighter, clearer, and ready to step fully into wholeness. My beloved, now that your heart has opened to surrender and you have begun to release the burdens that once weighed you down, I want to walk with you into the gentle practices that will help you carry this healing into your daily life. Transformation is not only a moment of revelation. It is a rhythm, a way of living, a steady alignment of your inner world with the truth I am planting within you. You do not need grand gestures or perfect routines to stay connected to the peace I am giving you. What you need is consistency, intention, and willingness. And I will guide you through each step. Begin with your breath, my child. There is power in the way you breathe. When your breath is shallow, your spirit feels rushed. When your breath is held, your heart feels tense. But when you breathe deeply, slowly, intentionally, your entire being begins to soften. I am present in your quiet breaths. When you inhale slowly, you make space for peace. When you exhale gently, you release what does not belong to you. Even a few intentional breaths throughout your day can shift your inner state. It is not a small thing. It is the opening of a doorway each time you choose to breathe with awareness. Next, return to moments of stillness. I am not asking you to escape your responsibilities. or withdraw from your life. I am inviting you to pause long enough to reconnect with me and with yourself. Even a few minutes of stillness can anchor you. Rest your hands, soften your gaze. Let your thoughts slow down. In this stillness, you will feel clarity rising. In this stillness, your heart will remember the peace that belongs to you. Stillness is not a luxury. It is nourishment for your inner world, and it is where you hear me most clearly. My child, guard your focus. So much of your peace is influenced by what you give your attention to. You have poured your energy into places that drained you, listened to voices that discouraged you, and given time to worries that produce nothing but exhaustion. But now you are learning to be intentional. Pay attention to the things that bring warmth to your spirit, the people who nourish your soul, the environments that encourage growth. Gently distance yourself from what steals your peace, not out of avoidance, but out of wisdom. You are learning to choose what aligns with the wholeness you are stepping into. Your relationships matter as well. Some connections in your life will flourish with the new peace you carry, others may shift. Do not fear the changes. I am guiding you toward people who honor your heart, support your growth, and speak to the healthiest parts of you. You do not have to hold on to relationships that thrive on chaos, confusion, or emotional imbalance. It is not unkind to protect your peace. It is not unloving to set boundaries. You are not rejecting others. You are honoring your well-being. And as you align yourself with peace, you will naturally draw in those who resonate with the same light. My beloved, care for your energy. You have poured so much of yourself into situations that depleted you. You gave when you were empty, helped when you were overwhelmed, carried what others dropped without considering your own limits. But now you are learning to be a steward of your energy. Notice when you feel drained. Notice when your heart tightens. Notice when exhaustion begins to creep in. These sensations are signals, not inconveniences. Honor them. Rest when you need to rest. Nourish your body, care for your mind, and give yourself space to recover. There is no weakness in needing rest. It is how you sustain the wholeness being restored within you. Let peace become your internal compass. You will sense it in your chest, in your breath, in your clarity. When a path is right for you, there will be a sense of quiet alignment, maybe not ease, but a calm confidence. When a path is not right for you, there will be tension, confusion, or heaviness. Learn to listen to these signals. They are not random emotions. They are gentle guidance. I speak to you through peace. When you feel unsettled, pause and seek me. When you feel centered, move forward. This practice will help you navigate life with wisdom rather than fear. My beloved, integrate gratitude into your days, not as a forced exercise, but as a way of noticing the quiet beauty that surrounds you. Gratitude softens your heart, lifts your perspective, and strengthens your connection to the present moment. Look for small things, light through a window, a moment of kindness, the warmth of a drink, the sound of laughter, the relief of a quiet evening. Gratitude trains your heart to recognize the goodness in your life, even on challenging days. It does not erase your pain, but it gives you the strength to move through it with grace. Finally, give yourself permission to grow slowly. Healing is not a race. Transformation is not measured by speed. Some days you will feel radiant and strong, other days you will feel tender and tired. Both kinds of days are part of the journey. Do not judge yourself for needing time. Do not compare your growth to anyone else's. You are unfolding at the pace your soul needs. I am with you in every step, every breath, every quiet victory. My beloved, practical alignment is not about perfection. It is about choosing, again and again, to nurture the peace that is awakening within you. It is choosing to protect your heart, guide your focus, honor your energy, and walk with intention. These daily practices anchor your transformation in reality. They turn inner healing into outward living. They turn moments of revelation into a life of wholeness. Walk gently, my child. You are aligning with who you were always meant to be, and I am walking with you. My beloved, we have walked together through awakening, through seeing, through releasing, through healing, and now you arrive at the most sacred point of all, the moment of choice. Not a choice forced upon you, not a choice born from fear, not a choice driven by pressure. This is a gentle, powerful invitation to step fully into the wholeness that has been calling to you from within. Healing is unfolding in you, but now you choose whether to live from this new place, whether to anchor your identity in truth rather than in old wounds, whether to speak life into yourself with the authority that has always been yours. My child, this choice is not a single moment. It is a posture of the heart. It is the steady decision to say yes to peace even when chaos tries to pull you back. It is the willingness to trust that you are worthy of the restoration flowing toward you. It is the courage to step forward even when the past whispers familiar lies. You are not choosing perfection. You are choosing direction. You are choosing truth. You are choosing alignment with the wholeness I have spoken over you. And hear me clearly, you are ready. You may feel unsure. You may feel tender. You may feel like you are stepping into unfamiliar territory. But readiness is not the absence of fear. Readiness is the willingness to move with me despite it. Everything within you has been preparing for this. Every moment of awareness. Every tear you released. Every burden you surrendered. Every breath you used to calm your trembling heart. All of it has brought you here, to this threshold, where you decide to step into the fullness that was always meant to be yours. This choice is not about denying the past. It is about refusing to let it define you. It is about closing the chapter where survival dictated your every move and opening the chapter where peace guides your steps. It is about accepting that you are not who you were in your darkest days. You have grown. You have risen. You have softened. You have expanded. And now you step into a life where your identity is no longer shaped by hurt, but by healing. My beloved, your voice matters in this moment. What you speak over yourself matters. Words shape your inner world. Words anchor truth. Words shift the atmosphere within you. So now, with tenderness, I invite you to declare what aligns with your new path. These declarations are not demands. They are acknowledgments of what is already being formed within you. Speak them slowly. Speak them gently. Speak them as a reminder to your heart that you are becoming whole. You may whisper them. You may speak them in your mind. You may feel a stirring as you hear them. Let each one settle into the deepest parts of you. I choose peace, even when my mind reaches for old fears. This is the first step, my child. Peace is no longer a distant hope. It is the place you are learning to live from. I choose clarity, even when confusion tries to return. You are guided. You are supported. You are not walking blindly. Clarity is coming to you again and again. I choose healing, even if it arrives gently and slowly. Your pace is perfect. Your progress is sacred. Healing is not rushed. It unfolds. I choose to release what no longer honors who I am becoming. Let go of the weights that once seemed necessary. You are lighter now. I choose to trust myself, my growth, and the path ahead. You have doubted yourself for years, but clarity is teaching you to trust again. I choose to believe that I am worthy of wholeness. This truth is the foundation of your transformation. Worthiness is your birthright. I choose to walk with courage, even when the way feels unfamiliar. Courage is not loud. It is steady. It is already within you. I choose to receive love, peace, and restoration without resisting them. You do not have to earn what is being given freely. My beloved, every declaration strengthens the path ahead. Every word you allow into your heart widens the doorway to your transformation. This is how you align your daily life with the healing I am weaving through your spirit. Not through force, but through intention. Not through striving, but through openness. And now take a breath with me. Feel the shift within you. Feel how your heart responds. Something in you is awakening, expanding, rising into truth. This is the moment where healing is not just something happening to you. It becomes something you choose, something you walk in, something you embody. You do not walk into this new chapter alone. I am with you, steady and present. I guide your steps. I calm your spirit. I strengthen your heart. You are stepping into a life where peace is not the exception. It is the rhythm. Where clarity is not rare, it is your compass. Where healing is not temporary, it is the foundation beneath your feet. My beloved, you have chosen. You have aligned yourself with wholeness. You have said yes to the life that has been waiting for you. And now, together, we walk forward. My beloved, come into this final moment with a softened heart. Let the journey we have walked settle into your spirit like gentle light resting on calm water. You have moved through remembrance, through release, through awakening, through transformation, and now you stand wrapped in a peace that has quietly taken root within you. Feel it. Let it rise. Let it remind you that you are no longer who you were when this began. Something within you has shifted. Subtly, deeply, irrevocably. As you breathe now, know this truth. I am with you. Not as a distant presence, not as a fading echo, but as a steady, intimate nearness guiding your steps. You are stepping into a life shaped by clarity, anchored in peace, and sustained by the wholeness I have spoken over you. You are ready, my child. Ready to walk with a lighter heart. Ready to trust your own strength. Ready to embrace the restoration unfolding in you. So I seal this journey with the words that have followed you, held you, and transformed you. Be made whole. That is your truth now. That is your path. That is the light before you. And that you walk forward, and I walk with you always.